So, I just had something happen to me not too long ago, and unfortunately, it's not the first time I think it's happened. In the meantime, I've done a lot of research on it, and in the end, I think my intuition, my feelings, and my assessment of the situation was spot on. I think autistic people have to deal with some form of discrimination. And that's thrown around everywhere all the time. I know, I'm going to describe what I feel I was dealing with. In fact, I think this is a form of an unconscious bias that people don't really realize they're doing. Why? Well, I could just say that when I write down and actually analyze what people do and how they treat me and how they neglect and so on and so forth, it is not right. But then when you go and address the issue, they have no idea they did anything. And so I always was in the boat that I'm too sensitive. But the more I look at how neurotypicals act, they get upset at me when I do something similar to how they treat me. Similar, but orders of magnitude less in my mind. Meaning they don't like the way that they talk to me, but they talk to me this way. Now, I'm just going to cut to it. I think us autistic people are cast into an other category. We're not in the group, we're in the other group. And oftentimes, how neurotypicals behave, they don't even realize they're being biased against us. So I'm not trying to be annoying here. I'm just saying that I do think we legitimately deal with unconscious bias all the time, and it affects us immensely. Work is hard, not because of work, but because the coworkers, that being the saving grace of most people's jobs, they get to mingle with everyone else. That is a nightmare for autistic people a lot of the times, just because we carry ourselves differently. Our facial expressions, our tones of voices, our behaviors are different. And many people will say they like to accept differences. It's just, those are words. Those don't mean anything if the action doesn't back it up. And that's what I see happen. It sounds good. We like the sound of that. I'm an accepting person. But then when you're faced with somebody who's slightly different, when they occupy this uncanny valley, it just frustrates people subconsciously, I think. So, what is it? What happens here? Well, I had a specific example happen. I don't think I want to share the whole story, but I'll just describe I was treated in an inconsiderate way. I guess I'll just give the example of I went to put my computers under the guy's car. We were traveling somewhere. I paid for a hotel room. I bought the hotel room for $400. He was driving. Okay. Went to put my computers under the car because we couldn't check into the hotel room yet. I don't want my window being broken into. In my mind, what? Like, do you think the thieves have x-ray goggles? What do you mean? Whether or not my computers are under the seat has no sort of influence on the windows being broken into. They're going to have to assume they're under there. The only thing, I'm jeopardizing my laptops a little bit by doing that, but I'd rather put them in the car than carry them around all day. Well, autistic people are pretty complacent, and so what I did was like, alright, that's fine, I need plots anyways. So I carried around 2 heavy laptops all day. I had a hurt shoulder, and I told him that. He just got mad at me because I was complaining about my hurt shoulder. We're skaters, dude. I don't know what we're complaining about. Our bodies hurt. So, basically, I feel like that's inconsiderate. Why is it that I can't put my laptop under your seat? What is up with that? That's just an illogical reason. I feel like there's some sort of bias here pushing you to not want to risk anything for me, the person in the other. And when I say something about pain in my shoulder because we slept on a shitty motel bed, all you do is patronize me. So, it's already kind of starting, but it gets worse. And I'm not going to get into the much, much worse, but I feel like this story kind of carries a little bit further just to illustrate, yeah, you weren't treated fairly and the guy doesn't even realize it. So, okay, I gotta carry my laptops around all day. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it, even though it was kind of annoying, just because it doesn't make any sense. I'm kind of used to that. Neurotypicals have done this sort of thing to me before, where it makes no difference if I do the thing, but they don't want to deal with it for whatever reason, so I gotta deal with it. Okay, so we're at this convention, and the guy randomly leaves to go do his own thing, locking all my stuff in the car. I'm like, it's fine, dude. I'm hungry. You're not. I'll go find some place to eat. I go and walk to a restaurant I want to eat at because Mediterranean food, the city we're in, is known for having good Mediterranean food. Okay, walk to the place, and I happen to walk past a tent city by the freeway. Now, this was in my mind. I don't know this town. This might not be the smartest idea, but I had time to kill. I was tired. I didn't want to go back to the conference and listen to technical talks. I was just tired. So I decided I'll go walk somewhere, go and see the city a little bit, and that'll be that. So, walked by this tent city, and it's just kind of like, oh boy, I got the two laptops in my backpack because I couldn't put them in the car, and I am not that big of a dude, and I'm wearing business casual clothes right now. I am a target walking by this place. There is not people around here at all. It's just me and these other people. So I walk by them. Wasn't the best vibe, but I kind of just decided I'm just gonna stay here at the restaurant and I'll practice my talk I need to do. And when it's time to go, I'll text my friend to come pick me up. So he randomly finishes his thing 2 hours later, and he gives me a text. Basically, be at the parking garage when I get there. I don't want to wait on you. That's just kind of how he acted. And I was like, hey, you want to come get me at this restaurant? It's like a 30-minute walk and a 5-minute drive. Bruh! Okay, I'll say 10 minutes longer, leave now. It's just like, okay, right then and there, just a little inconsiderate. If I had a friend who paid for the hotel room and my job was to drive, I would drive the fucking 5 minutes. It doesn't make that big of a difference there. It's just not acting like a friend. And he was trying to say he's like my friend. It's not me making things up in my head. He's the one reaching out to me to hang out and stuff before this conference, and it was just like, what the heck is going on? What the heck? And so I text him, well, I gotta walk through this ghetto area, and I don't want to get robbed. Don't be a bitch, is how he responds. Just go. And I respond to that, fuck it, I'll take a fucking Uber. Because it did piss me off. I know what's going on here. This is a common situation for autistic people. You're treated like a fucking child. As if you don't know how the world works at all. At all. And you're patronized all the time. You're told how you feel. You're told what to do all the time. You're told your behaviors are not right. Fix them. Be neurotypical. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm fucking sick of these people because you don't get to act inconsiderate towards me. You don't get to take from me. And then you don't get to do all this shit. But, I had the car ride to try to calm myself down, which I did. I wanted to yell at him, but I decided, no, it's fine. It's his car. It's his car. It's his car. So I get to the place, and he sees I'm not mad still. So he looks at me and says, yeah, I think we have different definitions what ghetto means. Oh my god. I got mad. I got fucking mad. I just shook my head and just I knew you thought that about me. I knew you thought I didn't know what I was talking about. I knew you thought that I don't understand this world, and you're just throwing out what I had to say there. It's like he created this situation somewhat. If I could have put my laptops under the car, I wouldn't have had them potentially get stolen. Thousands of dollars just down the drain, plus research. If I got those computers stolen, I don't know if I'd finish my PhD. That's years down the drain right there. I don't know if I'd recover. And you don't want me to put my laptops under your seat because of the potential risk of having your windshield being broken into while you're going to send me to go walk past something, then patronize me afterwards? We got to deal with this shit all the time, I feel like. All the fucking time. And I know this is just one situation I'm pointing out. The guy doesn't think he did anything wrong. He doesn't think he did anything wrong. He thinks he treated me with respect. And this wasn't the last occurrence. I was the bad guy here because this is what I ended up telling him. Before other stuff, I said, I'm going to try to drop it, but I'm mad right now. That's how I responded to, I think we have different definitions of ghetto. I am going to try to drop it, but I am mad right now. Back off. Holy shit. Holy shit. How he responds to it is oh, that's fine, I can ignore you. It's just what the fuck? I can just say that this is something that's pre-programmed in the subconscious mind. It's just too widespread. And is there nothing we can do about it? I don't know. I don't know. Do I need special privileges? Not really. I just don't want to be treated like this anymore. I know more about the outside world than people give me credit for. More than this guy knows. It's just the way I carry myself makes it seem like I don't know anything about the outside world, apparently, but I do. It doesn't take that much experience to know the situation I was in wasn't safe. And, again, it's like I am a pussy in his mind because I don't want to walk through that, while his car being broken into is a concern. It's like the thing that you're putting me into is orders of magnitude worse than that. And it's just like your perspective's just thrown out all the time. When you have something to say, it's just thrown out. Why? Because you don't act like everyone else. If anything, that just means I'll bring something new to the table. You guys just like hearing the same thing over and over. So, point being, I think this is some sort of situation a lot of autistic people have to deal with. And it frustrates us. It gives us anger. It gets old. And we just try to hide it. We just try to hide the anger until we face a meltdown. So, I don't think we're in the wrong here. And, I don't know what to do about it. It's invisible. What do I do? Does put an I am autistic sign on me? And that's just gonna, open its own can of worms. But, yeah, I'm just mad. I'm just mad at society sometimes. It's just, like, I'm just sick of it. This guy is just not as experienced as he thinks he is. Like, I went to a ghetto high school with CRIP members and know a thing or two about how the ghetto is. This guy went to a special school for physics and stuff because his parents pushed him hard. So it's just like, stop! Stop it! Stop! Let me be. Because this wasn't the end of it. I had to deal with other stuff after this, and I'm just going to drop it here because we're already at, 12 minutes? A 12-minute rant, basically. So, I wonder if anyone else has to deal with this stuff where they're patronized and disregarded and just treated like not a person, not the same as everyone else, and then when it all is at... Okay, I'm going to finish up here. I apologize to this guy. I apologized to him. I told him because he kept acting like a douchebag towards me non-stop, over and over and over. Non-stop after this. He was just a douchebag because he expected me just to go along with what he had to say. I told him that I'm sorry, I was getting on your nerves, I didn't mean it, and I'm genuinely sorry because that's just going to kick off the trip in a bad way. I told him what I could, even though I think he was in the wrong. He just disregarded it. He didn't want anything to do with it. It was annoying I was trying to apologize to him. We're just going to act the way he wants to act, because that's the normal way of acting. So I just got to put up with his shit. The dude can't bench press 100 pounds. He's like 5'2". And we go to the skate park together. Not going to take any sort of policing of my behavior from this guy, especially after we didn't apologize, after he didn't take my apology, after he was in the wrong. Like, literally, he tried to police my behavior at the skate park. I'm so sick of it. I am so sick of it. I am so sick of it. He has the audacity to tell me he treats me the same as everyone else. And again, this is not an isolated occurrence. So you can always say, you need to act different. I'm sick of acting like a neurotypical. I'm sick of trying to mask. I am so sick of it. There's so many things that neurotypicals do that annoy me. And I just have to put up with it. No more of that. No more of that. No more of that. There's just a logical way of looking at things. And I'm sick of this touchy-feely shit where it just doesn't lead neurotypicals to a consistent way of treating people. There's a way you treat people, not based off how they feel, just based off the fact they're a fucking person. So that's what I'm complaining about here. The fact that I'm a person and I'm not treated like one all the fucking time for superficial reasons that shouldn't matter. There we go. End of rant.